Coming up on Broncos Weekend, the newest members of the Denver Broncos have been named. We'll discuss some of the decisions General Manager George Paton and his staff made throughout the 2022 NFL Draft and which picks could make the biggest splash this upcoming season. Then, with the Broncos set to play the Jaguars in London this year, learn more about what it's like playing overseas from the player perspective. Broncos Weekend is next. Welcome inside the Pat Bowlen Fieldhouse for Broncos Weekend. I'm Alexis Perry, joined now by the Hall of Famer Steve Atwater. And the man who called the Hall of Famer the day he was waiting for the knock. 9 News Broncos Insider Mike Klis. I will never let you live it down, Klis.
We'll always be remembered for our worst moments, won't we?
I'm glad it was you, Mike.
That's glad
If it was anybody, he's glad it was you. Isn't that good news? Yeah. Well, guys, we are now a week removed from the 2022 NFL Draft. The Denver Broncos made 9 picks on days 2 and 3. As we take a look at the Broncos' 6 defensive and 3 offensive picks, like we all know, the Broncos watched Russell Wilson highlights during the 9th overall selection, which they traded to the Seahawks in exchange for their new franchise quarterback. Oklahoma edge defender Nik Bonitto was the first call for George Paton at number 64, followed by Greg Dulcich, 80th overall. Denver drafted a pair of Oklahoma Sooners in Bonitto and Delarian Turner-Yell, and a pair of Wisconsin Badgers to round out the draft with defensive end Matt Henningsen and cornerback Faion Hicks. Guys, we will get to day 3 here in just a little bit, but we all know George Paton, he was willing to move up or move back. He stayed put at 64. He picked Nik Bonitto. What was your initial reaction, Klis?
Yeah, what he did, he had about 3 or 4 guys that he really liked at number 64. And was talking about moving up about 10 spots, but they couldn't get a consensus in the room. Some wanted, let's say someone wanted Trey McBride, who went number 55. Some wanted an inside linebacker. Some wanted a cornerback. So they stayed right there, and they were going to take the best player that they had from the 5, and Bonitto was there. And in the end, they wanted another edge rusher. AFC West, all those quarterbacks, who disrupts the quarterback the most? An edge rusher.
Yeah, and I think that, at the end of the day, that's the position that they wanted to fill because obviously there were some inside linebackers on the board, offensive tackles on the board, other tight ends on the board, right. But they decided to go with another edge rusher. And I think that's primarily because of the injury situation. Both Bradley Chubb has had some injuries in the past, and also Randy Gregory, he's recovering from an injury right now. I think to make sure that we're not in a bad position once the season rolls around. But I like the call, though. I like it. You can never have too many edge rushers.
Right. For those who haven't seen the Boomer Sooner Bonitto play, what unique skill sets is he bringing?
Speed and athleticism. He's right there with Randy Gregory, and the fact that he's younger and fresh, he's going to be the fastest guy coming off the edge. There's a little question about his strength, especially as we're all rookies have to increase their strength. There's only one Von Miller coming out like he did in 2011.
Right.
But aside from that, the bend, the athleticism, and the speed, that's what Bonitto is going to give this team.
Yeah, I agree 100%. That's the thing that stands out on the film is his speed, his tenacity. He's getting to the ball every single play. The only area of concern is against the run, but that's with most edge defenders, right. Them defending the run, keeping contained, making sure that they don't get too far up the field to where the quarterback can dip underneath that tackle and just run freely. So I'm sure Coach Evero and the rest of the guys, they're going to make sure that on passing plays, he's getting to the quarterback, but on those run plays, he's getting width and making sure he's keeping contained.
Yeah, George Paton has said that you win when you have a wave of pass rushers. So when looking at that outside linebackers room, where does Bonitto fit within this rotation?
Well, man, it's going to be to be seen. And we don't know where he'll fit in there. We don't know if he'll immediately be in that 3rd position ahead of Jonathan Cooper and Malik Reed, or if he'll be behind them. and it's all going to depend on how well he's able to get off the block.
Run the 0-6 defense.
Right.
No defensive linemen, just put all 6 edge rushers out there. Go get Patrick Mahomes.
Yes. Well, we may need to do that, so we never know.
Yeah.
You know, Malik Reed said on a radio appearance earlier this week that he wants 10 sacks this year. Do you guys think that's still possible for him with Bonitto in the lineup?
Well, it's going to be tougher. I'll say this about Malik Reed. They try to push him aside every year. And he winds up starting ahead of Bradley Chubb, and he winds up starting ahead of Von Miller. He wasn't supposed to have more starts than those guys the last 3 years, but he's very dependable, very durable, and he's usually there. Right now, I would say the odds are against Malik Reed getting 10 sacks, but don't count him out because he's been there each of the previous 3 years.
Yeah, and I think Malik Reed will play in that rotation somewhere. And obviously, if there aren't any injuries and everybody's able to stay healthy, his production will be less than it would be if they were injured like they've been the last couple of seasons. But again, Malik Reed, he's a great third, fourth guy coming in there in the rotation. He's going to get great effort from him. A little bit undersized for the position, especially when those big offensive tackles are trying to mash and trying to get the ball, trying to run right at him. It can be a little difficult for him, but he's a guy that I would love on my team.
Okay, well, you kind of joked about this, but Ejiro Evero, he has said that he's going to do whatever it takes to get after the quarterback. He'll send 4, 5, 6. So what are some situations that we could see kind of a NASCAR front and see 4 pass rushers on the field at one time?
Well, just really, I would say just obvious passing situations. They can get the guys on the field, but the only question is, who are considered our best rushers? Because it may end up being DJ Jones may end up being one of those guys who are better rush. Draymond Jones, they may be our best, one of our top 4 guys. So it'll be interesting to see who those 4 guys end up being. I don't think we'll see too many times when it's just 4 outside linebackers or edge guys in there rushing. I think we'll always have either Draymond, DJ Jones, somebody like that on the inside. It would be cool.
Would be cool. What do you think, Klis?
Yeah, they've done it before here and there where the third guy is stacked over the center.
Yep.
And then they stunt and they try to free up a lane for him. I'm sure there will be those type of formations on 3rd and 17.
Yeah.
Those type of things, put 3 of them in there, send them in waves. And then also what it does, though, is everyone can stay fresh. I mean, Bradley Chubb didn't play a whole lot the last couple of years. If you limit his snaps to 50% because you have all these pass rushers, it'll make Bradley Chubb that much more effective. Randy Gregory's got to nurse that shoulder just a little bit. Baron Browning is breaking in on the outside. Maybe everyone gets 40% of the snaps, and that's what you have in a true pass rush wave.
Right.
Waves and waves, and maybe 6 different guys are coming at the quarterback on one set of downs.
Yeah, you mentioned the wild card here, Baron Browning. I failed to mention him at that edge position as well. He's going to play a part too, and I think a lot of people have forgotten about him, but he's going to make some splashes in training camp, and I bet he's going to be in the conversation.
Yeah, an inside guy moving outside. But Steve, really quick, Nik Bonitto, what does a successful rookie season look like for him?
Oh, man, the success was a lot is going to depend on injuries, but I would say 6 sacks, 12, 13 pressures on the quarterback. I think that would be a very productive year for.
I was going to say 6 sacks. I mean, realistically speaking, again, he's going to have to get strong. He's going to go against some right tackles and left tackles that are going to swallow him up sometimes.
Yeah.
But he does have some flexibility, that bend in his body while he runs full speed. He'll get there a few times, but realistically, let's give him 6 sacks. He was number 64, not number 6 or 4. It was number 64.
I'm looking forward to seeing his spin move. He was a basketball player. He had numerous recruiting offers to play basketball. So, I mean, the spin move should be pretty impressive.
That doesn't hurt. That doesn't hurt to have that type of athleticism when you can play hoops.
Yeah, and I think when guys play basketball like that, they normally understand how to get position on guys to keep that outside position against the run. We were talking about earlier him just keeping contained.
Yeah. Hopefully
that'll help him, but I think he's got to put in a little bit more weight for that too.
For sure. Those feet, that first step will be critical for him. Well, we need to take a quick break. Coming up, Greg Dulcich. What kind of impact could he have this year, especially with Russell Wilson as his quarterback? Don't go anywhere.
Things are heating up in Denver. And Empower Field at Mile High has the hottest entertainment all spring and summer long.
It's time to get back out, celebrate, and raise your voice with Luke Combs, followed by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Kenny Chesney, and The Weekend. Also, the Denver Barbecue Fest returns in June. Tickets for all of these events on sale now at Ticketmaster.com.
Welcome back to Broncos Weekend. Alexis Perry here alongside Steve Atwater and Mike Klis. Guys, Friday night, a nerve-wracking time there for the Denver Broncos. They wanted to take UCLA tight end Greg Dulcich at 75. George Paton decided to move back to 80, traded that pick there to Houston. Thinking back on it, how bold was that move by George Paton?
Yeah, it was bold, but at the same time, George Paton, he had been saying all along that you can get great value kind of in the middle of the draft. So I don't think it was surprising. And also knowing that he likes more draft picks.
More darts.
I can't say that I was surprised by it, but I was happy that he was able to get the person they were targeting. Glad that he was still available. And, getting a chance to meet Greg Dulcich when he came in town, it was a treat for all of us, I think. And I think he's going to fit in well here. Now, I think he and Albert Okwuegbunam have a lot of similar talents, but I'm sure they'll start to be able to see the differences once he gets there.
There is risk when you go back that you lose the player. I mean, that's happened before.
Yeah.
I know it happened a couple of years ago with the center in the third round with Elway and Matt Russell. From what I understand, they had 3 guys that they liked at 75, and as they moved back to 80, 2 of them went.
Interesting.
So it did get a little tense in there, but Dulcich was their top guy, and Dulcich was still there at 80. And the big thing about that is they got that third round draft pick for next year. Right. And so, because they were short for 2023, and now they have 2 third-round picks they can maneuver next year.
Right. This is a guy who has first-round talent. I think he would have gone much earlier if this wasn't the super senior year. So do you think any other team got better value at any position than the Broncos did with Greg Dulcich at 80?
Yeah, Dulcich was definitely nice value. He's a good receiver. He's a solid receiver. He really, to me, it looks like he's going to fill the Noah Fant role, and that he can take the top off as a tight end. He's got to work on his blocking as Noah did, and he'll match up pretty well with Albert O. I still think Albert O is best as that third down red zone type tight end. Mm-hmm. You got Tomlinson and Saubert handling the blocking, and then but Dulcich I think will be the bigger play receiver from the tight end position.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because both of these guys are very good tight ends. I remember when Albert O came out, Drew Lock was his quarterback at the University of Missouri, and I really thought he was going to be a first, second round draft pick from seeing him play. And having been around him, I love his work ethic. The only thing I think with Albert O, he's got to get on that jugs machine a little bit, make sure he can hold on to those clutch catches. But he's a really good player. And pairing Dulcich with them, along with the other guys, I think we're going to have a solid room of tight ends.
How do you see these guys working in tandem together, Albert O and Greg
Yeah,
Dulcich? First
of all, I think this is going to be a receiver-centric team. I mean, I think Russell Wilson likes to throw the ball downfield, and those are the receivers. And he's got 4 good ones. If KJ Hamler is ready to go, Judy, right. You got Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick. So I think it's the top 4 receivers for Russell Wilson are going to be those 4 receivers. And then you mix in with the tight end. You mix in with Javonte and Melvin Gordon. But it will be interesting to see if Albert O kind of moves up a little bit into Noah Fant's spot, or if Dulcich goes right ahead and goes past Albert O and goes into that spot. That's something they're going to have to shake out. It'll probably depend on Dulcich and how he looks in training camp.
I think that certainly in passing situations, they'll be on the field maybe quite a bit together, especially if they're running some 12 personnel. But if they're competing, I think it's going to be whoever has been catching the most, whoever is the most reliable receiving tight end will get the most looks.
What problems could these guys create for opposing defenses and specifically safeties?
Being a former safety myself, I can say that having tight ends who are fast, who can catch, who can use their bodies to kind of guard you out, they can make all kinds of catches all over the field. They can be a nightmare for defenses and one of the greatest things for a quarterback. So I think that they're going to both help out Russell Wilson when they're in the tight spot, taking the top off of defenses, running down through that seam. Whenever they're covered by safeties and linebackers, they'll have a definite advantage.
Greg Dulcich, do you guys think Russell Wilson could help microwave his development a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Russell Wilson knows how to get a guy 45 catches a year as well as anybody. And, I think that third and mediums, that's where your tight end comes into play. 3rd and 4, 3rd and 6. That's the money situation for the tight ends. And then also in the red zone. The Broncos have to do a better job with their tight end in the red zone. They just haven't had enough production there, not enough touchdowns. Noah Fant went up incrementally each year, but with weapons like Albert O, who can really go up at the crossbar and go get the ball, you got to take advantage of that.
New staff could probably help with that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And, Russell Wilson, just, his presence, I think the guys respect him immediately. Those that G respects him, Albert O, all the other guys, they have a tremendous amount of respect for him. And they're going to do everything they can to make sure that they don't disappoint him. In addition to coaches, obviously with the coaches as well. But he's a guy who's a coach on the field. He can tell them where he needs them to be. But it's going to be up to them to make sure that they can make those catches and have the mental part of it down to where he has confidence to throw it to him.
A lot of scramble plays this year. Russell scrambling around.
Oh, yeah.
Go
Get
over
open.
there. Go over there, yeah.
Exactly. Russell Wilson, he has 8 super talented pass catchers. So how does one earn the coveted title of Wilson's favorite?
3rd down.
Yeah.
You can't be dropping the ball 1 yard past the sticks on 3rd down. You can't be catching the ball and coming up 1 yard short of the sticks, which drove us crazy the last couple of years with the Broncos offense. So Russell Wilson will figure it out. It's one reason why he brought everybody out to San Diego to get in tune, to get the timing down with these guys, to get a comfort level. I mean, it's an innate thing that kind of that has to get to the point where it happens on the fly without thinking.
Right.
And then automatically, Russ is going to see Courtland Sutton, and that's his guy, and he's going to Courtland Sutton, even if he might see another receiver open in the flat over here.
Yeah.
That's the way it works, is when these guys get it all tuned through reps.
Yeah, and just like I said, getting the reps in, getting the confidence down, knowing that when he throws the ball, the guy's going to be there and he's going to make the catch. But in addition to that, guys who are going to be willing to block and do all the other things that it takes and have the mental part down. They're not making mental errors. They're exactly where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be there.
All right, well, still to come here on Broncos Weekend is some of their favorite Day 3 moves and what we can look forward to now that we know the Broncos will be playing in London in 2022. Don't go anywhere.
Things are heating up in Denver, and Empower Field at Mile High has the hottest entertainment all spring and summer long. It's time to get back out, celebrate, and raise your voice with Luke Combs, followed by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Kenny Chesney, and The Weekend. Also, the Denver Barbecue Fest returns in June. Tickets for all of these events on sale now at Ticketmaster.com.
Thanks for sticking with us for this final segment of Broncos Weekend. Guys, Day 3 was by far the busiest for the Denver Broncos. They entered the day with 8 picks. They made 7 after trading 1 to the Packers to move up in the 5th round. But as we take a look at who Denver was able to get in rounds 4 through 7, which pick were you most excited about?
I'll give you 2, Innie. I'll let you pronounce the name. Innie, the 6'6", 315-pound defensive tackle. Yeah, from Iowa State. 9 sacks last year. He played nose tackle, he played the 5 technique, and he played a little bit on the edge. He's a terrific story, by the way. Once we get to know his story, everyone's just going to be floored by how much this guy's overcome. And then everyone likes excitement. Montrell Washington, the punt returner and kickoff returner. That was a nice pick.
Yeah, well, I agree with you with Montrell Washington, the receiver, punt returner, a dynamic guy. I saw one of his interviews. He said, I don't do fair catches. Now, obviously, he's going to have to fair catch some balls once he gets to the league. But I like that mentality that he wants to return every single kick. He's got really good hands. He's exciting to watch, and he showed up in some big games, and I'm hoping he can do that at this level. But the other guy that I had was Damari Mathis, the cornerback out of Pitt. I think he's going to come in here and compete for an opportunity to play. Now, obviously, all the guys are going to be out there thinking they're competing, but this guy legitimately has a chance to see the field this year.
Which of the 9 players throughout the entire draft do you think could make the biggest splash immediately here for the Broncos?
I'm going to go back to Montreal Washington.
Yeah.
Okay.
Punt returner, kick returner, receiver as well. But, I like what I saw from his return abilities, his mentality, his speed. He's not a super sized guy. He's not a large guy, but he has tons of confidence. He has the speed, has the vision, and he makes people miss. He breaks some ankles.
I'll give you one more. In the 5th round, Luke Wattenberg,
Yes.
center from Washington, 5th-year senior. I kind of called around the league to some other executives because they're going to give you the straight dope on what the Broncos draft picks were about. And first of all, they're all impressed with the overall character and the athleticism. This draft of George Paton had just up and down the line. Good character and a lot of athleticism. Now you got to figure out how quick they can play. But Wattenberg has everything that you need in a center. Maybe not this year as a 5th round guy, and you got Lloyd Cushenberry. I think he'll compete and compete hard. But this guy's going to be a bona fide starting center in this league.
Well, and good news, too, he can also play guard. So that's perfect for the
Yeah, he's played all the positions along the line.
He's a smart guy. He's tough. He's one of those guys doesn't say much. Leads by example, which is the best way to lead, I think.
Love that. Well, the best news that we have heard all week, the Denver Broncos will be playing in London this year up against the Jacksonville Jaguars on October 30th. You guys, this is such an exciting time for all of our fans across the pond. Steve, you have played in 5 international games throughout your career, Tokyo twice, Berlin, Barcelona, and Mexico City. Why were these games something that players really looked forward to?
Well, in addition to the experience, just getting to learn about other people's culture, getting a chance to experience it and to see how big the game of football is worldwide is just astonishing. And it was big back then, and it's even bigger now. So going to London, I think it's going to be a great treat for the entire team, coaches, players, and also they'll get a great chance to bond and continue to build those relationships.
Something that is different about this game, though, is this is a regular season game.
That's a good point.
Yes, you played in a ton of preseason games.
We played preseason games, and most of the time we played. I was a veteran, so wasn't really playing in the preseason games very much. So I got a chance to get out, really have some fun, but. Being a regular season game, unless they get there super early in the week, it's going to be a business trip.
We remember Terrell Davis with that big tackle.
That's right, the big hit. That's right, Tokyo.
Tokyo.
Yes.
Yeah, on the kickoff. And the rest is history with
Oh,
TD.
man.
Exactly.
I went to the game in London in 2010. I thought the Broncos were jet lagged. They didn't get in till Thursday.
Right.
And then, so they didn't have any time to recoup their biological clocks. And I thought that was really unfortunate. I'm hoping Coach Hackett, there's 2 schools of thought on it, but I personally am hoping Coach Hackett goes earlier.
Got to go early.
So we can go see Big Ben and
That's right.
eat a lot of fish and chips and stuff.
I have a feeling Russell Wilson's going to be in his ear talking about how bad he wants to get there and get acclimated, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we went on some trips, and we still had jet lag the day of the game.
Right.
And so making sure that you're in the right frame of mind, you're well rested. That's super important playing this game because you don't want to go out there being at a disadvantage.
I think Jacksonville is going to be a much improved team.
Yep.
I like Doug Peterson. Urban Meyer was a boom or bust at the time. He had a chance to be great. He turned out to bust. Doug Peterson, in his 2nd year with the Eagles, led him to the Super Bowl title. I think they're going to be a much improved, more organized, more professional organization. They were big in free agency. They were big in the draft, as you would think they would.
Oh, yeah.
Picking that high. I would say whatever happened last year, throw it away because this is going to be a much tougher team.
Okay, if you guys are able to make the trip, what is one landmark you cannot leave London without seeing? You already said Big Ben. Is that your landmark?
I can't remember if it was Paris. I did my honeymoon in London, and then we did a quick trip to Paris. The churches there are unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Yeah, cathedrals, right?
Yep.
What about you, Steve?
For me, the British Museum. They have so much art, so much history there. I want to check that out.
See, I'm basic. I'm trying to go Buckingham Palace. Maybe Kate Middleton will be around. If you want to get tea, Kate, call me.
There we go.
You know, we could do a little tea party. That would be awesome. Well, we are looking forward to seeing all of our Broncos Europe friends this October at Wembley Stadium. For Steve Atwater and Mike Klis, I'm Alexis Perry. Thank you so much for watching Broncos Weekend. We'll see you in a couple weeks.